Situated near the Mississippi River in southern Illinois, Fort Deschartres was once the seat of French colonial government for the Illinois Territory before being ceded to the British by treaty. Today, the site is maintained by the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency. For more information on the fort, I sat down with Assistant Site Manager Dennis Thomas.
This particular fort was constructed sometime after 1750. It is at least the third fort that was constructed here by the French in and around this area at that time. Probably in the early 1720s is when the first fort was constructed. Those were made out of earthenworks and timber, and their life expectancy is pretty short. So they continually either rehab the fortification or they reconstruct or construct another one. So this one is the one where the French government got very serious about making a statement in this part of the New World, in this part of the Mississippi Valley. This fort was very permanent in their mind, and in the 1750s, when they took the time, the effort, the money to construct a stone fortification here, obviously they felt highly about this area. It was something that they needed to hold on to. In their minds, I'm sure in 1750 we'd still be speaking French here, and that was the effort that was given. So,
with its exquisitely reconstructed buildings, the fort presents a perfect location for reenactments from the period of the French and Indian Wars, as one can almost see what the area looked like back then. The reenactors help enhance the educational value of Fort Deschartres with their extensive knowledge and traditional garb.
We set our unit up to represent the First of Foot as they would have come into Nova Scotia for the capture of Fort Louisbourg in 1757. And so we've got the full complement. We've got the very early Brown Bess muskets, we've got the wooden rammers and such, so a very long barrel. The British were here from 1765 to 1776, and they provided a British government presence in the state of in the Illinois territories for that time period. After all, this was an international boundary. The Mississippi River was a boundary between Britain and Spain.
We reenact a very narrow period, 1755 to 1760, 61. Very narrow period, but that's when the war started and ended. We're also great fans of history prior to 1800. So from 1750 to 1789, we all kind of study and dream in that part of history. This cannon is actually a long 6-pounder. And long is, they'll shoot a little farther, but the main thing you see is the barrel's longer. Now this particular one was made with a smaller bore, which actually makes it a 4-pounder. Why did they do that? I would think safety reasons for, making it liability wise. Yeah. So it's a pretty healthy gun.
The only original building left on the site is the fort's powder magazine, which is also one of the oldest buildings in Illinois. Richard Wessenberg, a reenactor portraying an engineer, had this to say.
I'm sketching the gunpowder magazine at Fort Deschartres, which is the only original structure that remained mainly in one piece since the abandonment of the fort by the British in about 1769. It's a stone structure. It has a barrel vaulted ceiling with a wooden roof, and gunpowder would have been stored in the building as well as other valuable things that they did not want to get wet. The fort was designed by Saussure. He was a lieutenant, a French colonial engineer, who was under the direction of engineers who would have been Captain Bruton from New Orleans, and he was sent up here to design the fort and construct the fort. Fort Deschartres is one of 2 stone French forts in the United States. There are several more in Canada, but this is only one of 2 stone forts in the United States that were constructed by the French. That's why it's very important for us to save this structure and to maintain it as a historic artifact.